Good morning, Oklahoma, and welcome to Cow-Calf Corner. As you can see, here today we're taping at the Tadashek Arena. We're actually at the Blueprint for the Future Beef Cattle Conference that we've been talking about here on Sunup for the last few weeks. And it is a good deal for us that we are joined by Mark McCulley, CEO of the American Angus Association. We're wrapping up the first morning of the events here. Mark gave a very impactful talk this morning of why we are having this conference. And Mark, let's discuss a little bit. Why are we here?
Well, it's really an important conference to have. I think we as cattlemen and stakeholders in this bigger beef industry, it's important we come together and collaborate and share ideas and talk about what's on the horizon and learn from one another, so that collaboration. But I quoted Dr. Bob Tadashek. I thought it was so fitting. Here we are on the anniversary, 35 years to the day that the last one of these was held right here in this arena, and Dr. Tadashek stood up and said the why we're here is to sort the truth from the trends. And man, that just resonated with me when I went back and read those proceedings from those earlier type conferences that were held. And I think that's why we're here. We're here to sort the truth from the trends. There's an awful lot of information out there, but I think when you pull a lot of smart people together with different experiences and different perspectives, we can solve about any problem this industry can throw at us.
And you know, it's interesting, we both talked about Dr. Harlan Ritchie and his involvement in those prior conferences. And Harlan talked about the future isn't set. Not to sound like a science fiction movie, but there are different alternatives based what ideas come out of a conference like this. Tell them, what are all the variety of topics we get into in the next couple of days, Mark?
Well, yeah, we're going to cover, I tell you, the agenda is as diverse as any that I've seen in our industry, and which speaks to how complicated the business is today. I mean, we've got to think about soil health and the things we learned about this morning from the folks at Noble about how to regenerative agriculture and taking care of our soils and our grasses and all of that. We're going to hear about what consumer trends around what the consumer is wanting of our product today, and maybe more importantly, as we think about the genetic side of things, what's our consumer going to want 5 and 10 years down the road? Things around obviously product quality and consistency and palatability, as we would talk about it. But we also know we have some new consumers or existing consumers of our product that also ask questions about how we're taking care of the land, how we're taking care of the animals, and how are we going to connect all that great work that our farmers and ranchers are doing to that consuming public and get that conveyed in the most positive light. We're going to talk about genetics and a lot of discussion around selection. I used the analogy this morning of the movie Moneyball, of the movie where they started to use more data and analytics in professional baseball, and how that kind of changed how the professional scouts had to find their roster and build their teams. I think it's a lot that way in beef cattle selection. We have genomics, we have all these technologies to use today, and yet there's still an art that comes with beef cattle selection. We're going to talk about how we blend that art and that science, and those are going to be really fantastic panels with some really thoughtful, bright guys. And there's an awful lot. We're going to hear about how we're doing kind of from a beef quality standpoint, to talking to producers of what they're challenged with on the ranch of staying profitable and hitting those consumer targets. So it's going to be a great couple days.
It is, and as Dr. Tadashek always said, the future's decided by those who show up to discuss it.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate you being here, and we appreciate you all joining us on Cow-Calf Corner this week. I'm Mark Johnson. We'll see you soon, and in weeks to come we'll be addressing more of the information that came out of our Blueprint for the Future conference.